Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're getting into a book that, honestly, has made a huge splash. Matthew Walker's Why We Sleep.
It really has shifted the conversation for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
it makes you wonder, doesn't it? In this whole wellness craze,
Hmm.
diets, workouts, mindfulness, why does sleep so often get, well, pushed aside? Like it's optional.
Mm-hmm. The expendable pillar of health, as some might see it.
Exactly. Is it really expendable, or is there something much more serious going on that Walker uncovers?
He definitely argues it's the latter.
And, we all feel it, right? That constant digital buzz, work bleeding into home life, feeling like you have to be available all the time. Sleep feels like a luxury you can't afford.
Yeah, the 24/7 culture is a real challenge to our biology.
So our goal here isn't just to throw more sleep facts at you. We want to dive deep, pull out the absolute core insights from Walker's work, the stuff that might actually make you go, aha,
Hmm.
and maybe, just maybe, change how you think about hitting the pillow tonight.
And it helps to know who Matthew Walker is. He's not just writing opinions, he's a professor of neuroscience and psychology at UC Berkeley, founded the Center for Human Sleep Science.
So, heavy-hitting credentials.
Definitely. He's deep in the science, but also really passionate about getting this information out to the public. It's that blend of rigorous research and real public health advocacy.
Makes sense.
And the book's main point, it's trying to completely rewire how we think about sleep. It's not just resting, it's an active, absolutely critical biological need.
Not a luxury, a necessity.
Precisely. He's really challenging that whole sleep is for the weak or I'll sleep when I'm dead mindset that our culture sometimes celebrates. He argues we need big changes like everywhere, schools, workplaces.
Okay, so let's unpack that. If sleep isn't just downtime, what is it doing? You mentioned it's active.
Incredibly active. Your brain is working hard all night. For example, during deep non-REM sleep, that's when your brain solidifies memories, kind of moving information from short-term holding to long-term storage, like
Yeah.
hitting save on what you learn.
Okay, saving the day's data.
Yeah, and maybe even more importantly, during that same deep sleep, your brain does this amazing cleanup. There's this system, the glymphatic system, that basically flushes out metabolic waste products that build up while you're awake.
Like a power wash for the brain.
Kind of, yeah. And it clears out things like amyloid beta proteins, which are the ones strongly linked to Alzheimer's disease. So sleep is literally cleaning house.
Wow. Okay, that's huge.
And then you've got REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep. Walker calls this overnight therapy.
Therapy. How so?
Well, during REM, your brain seems to process emotional experiences, especially difficult ones. It sort of strips away the intense emotional charge, the sting, while still integrating the memory. Helps you wake up feeling a bit more emotionally balanced, less reactive.
Huh. So it's memory consolidation and emotional regulation.
Exactly. And this is why his warnings are so stark. He lays out that chronic sleep deprivation, even losing just an hour or two consistently. It's not just about feeling groggy, it seriously ramps up your risk for major health problems.
Like what sort of things?
We're talking heart disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, mood disorders like depression and anxiety. The large-scale studies are pretty clear. Consistently sleeping less than, say, 6 hours a night is linked to shorter lifespans, higher rates of stroke, heart attacks. It's fundamental to survival.
That really puts it in perspective. It's not just about feeling tired, it's about long-term health. So if it's that important, what's actually controlling it? Is it just feeling sleepy?
It's a bit more elegant than that, thankfully. There are two main systems working together. First, your circadian rhythm. Think of it as your internal master clock running on roughly a 24-hour cycle.
The body clock.
Right. It controls loads of things when you feel alert, when you get sleepy, body temperature, hormone release, digestion. And the main cue for this clock is light, especially natural daylight in the morning.
Okay, so light sets the clock. What's the second system?
That's sleep pressure.
Hmm.
This is simpler. The longer you stay awake, the more a chemical called adenosine builds up in your brain. Yeah. You can think of it like sleepiness accumulating. The more adenosine, the stronger the desire, the pressure to sleep becomes. Sleep then clears this adenosine away, resetting the clock for the next day.
Ah, okay. So the clock tells you when it's roughly time for sleep, and the pressure tells you how much you need it.
You got it. But here's where modern life messes things up spectacularly. Caffeine, for instance.
My best friend some mornings.
Well, caffeine works by basically blocking those adenosine receptors in your brain. It doesn't actually reduce your sleep need, it just masks the signal. Like putting tape over your car's fuel gauge, you still need gas.
Oh, good analogy. Okay.
And then there's artificial light, especially blue light from screens at night, which tricks your circadian clock into thinking it's still daytime, delaying the release of melatonin, the sleep hormone. Add shift work, jet lag, even just irregular weekend sleep schedules, and you get this internal chaos, this desynchronization Walker talks about. Your body clock is just constantly confused.
All right, it feels like a constant battle. So given all this,
Yeah.
what can we actually do? Walker must offer some practical advice, right? Beyond just sleep more.
Oh, absolutely. He's very focused on actionable strategies. And probably the single most powerful one he emphasizes is consistency.
Consistency in what?
Your sleep schedule. Going to bed and waking up around the same time every single day. Yes, even on weekends.
Oof, that's the tough one for many people, isn't it?
It really is, but it's crucial for keeping that circadian rhythm stable and strong. It helps your body anticipate sleep and wakefulness, making the whole process much more efficient. It anchors your biology.
Okay, consistency. What else?
Creating the right environment. Your bedroom should be a sanctuary for sleep. That means cool, dark, and quiet.
Cool. How cool.
He recommends around 65 degrees Fahrenheit or about 18 Celsius. A slight drop in core body temperature actually helps initiate sleep. And dark means really dark blackout curtains, cover any little LED lights, and minimize noise.
Got it. Cool, dark, quiet. Makes sense.
Then there's managing caffeine and alcohol. We talked about caffeine blocking adenosine, so definitely avoid it in the afternoon and evening. Alcohol is tricky too.
Yeah, people think a nightcap helps them sleep.
It might make you feel drowsy and fall asleep faster, sure,
Yeah.
but it fragments your sleep later in the night. It particularly suppresses REM sleep, that crucial overnight therapy stage. So the sleep you get is much lower quality. Best to avoid it close to bedtime.
Okay, less caffeine, less alcohol, especially later on. What about winding down?
Yes, a wind down routine, giving yourself 30, maybe 60 minutes before bed to transition away from the busy day. No screens during this time, ideally.
What kind of things?
Reading a physical book, gentle stretching, meditation, maybe a warm bath, which actually helps cool your core body down afterward. Anything calm that signals to your body, okay, it's time to power down.
And then for the morning.
Morning light. Get some natural sunlight exposure fairly soon after waking up. Even 10-15 minutes can make a big difference in resetting your circadian clock for the day and boosting alertness.
These all sound, well, logical. But sticking to them is the hard part. Can you give some examples of just how badly things go when we don't sleep enough? Make it real for us.
He does this very effectively. One stark comparison he makes is that being awake for 19 hours straight impairs your cognitive performance as much as having a blood alcohol level of 0.08%.
Wow. That's legally impaired in many places.
Exactly. Think about driving, making important decisions, your reaction time. It's significantly compromised. Drowsy driving is a huge, often underestimated cause of accidents.
Sure.
And think about students. Walker shows how pulling all-nighters or even just consistently skimping on sleep directly undermines learning. You can study hard, but if you don't get the sleep to consolidate those memories,
Doesn't stick.
right, it's much less effective. On the flip side, look at athletes, the ones who prioritize sleep. They see measurable improvements, better reaction times, faster recovery, fewer injuries, better strategic thinking. It's a performance enhancer.
So it impacts everything from safety to learning to peak performance.
Absolutely everything.
Okay, we've talked about the individual impact of practical steps.
Yeah.
But you mentioned earlier that Walker sees this as a bigger issue, something societal. What's the high cost he talks about? And how does society kind of set us up to fail on sleep?
Yeah, the long-term health consequences are, frankly, quite terrifying when you see them laid out. He connects insufficient sleep to disruption in basically every major system in the body. Pretty much. Take the immune system. He cites research showing just one night of only 4 or 5 hours sleep can slash the activity of your natural killer cells, key immune warriors, by up to 70%.
70%. From one bad night.
That's what the study indicated. Think about your defense against viruses, infections, even potentially cancerous cells. Sleep deprivation weakens that front line dramatically.
That's sobering. What else?
It messes with your hormones. Increased cortisol, the stress hormone. It impairs how your body handles blood sugar, raising the risk for type 2 diabetes. It disrupts appetite hormones, making you feel hungrier and less full, contributing to weight gain.
The munchies after a bad night's sleep aren't just in your head then.
Not at all. There's a biological basis. And we mentioned the Alzheimer's link. The brain simply can't do its waste clearance effectively without sufficient deep sleep. And emotionally, lack of REM sleep leaves you more prone to anxiety, mood swings, and less able to cope with stress or think creatively.
It really touches every aspect of health.
It does. And Walker argues forcefully that society actively promotes this. Our culture often celebrates busyness, equates lack of sleep with ambition.
The hustle culture.
Exactly. Think about early school start times for teenagers. Biologically, their sleep cycles shift later in adolescence. Making them start school at 7:30 a.m. is like asking an adult to function normally starting work at 4:30 a.m. It guarantees chronic sleep deprivation during critical developmental years.
That makes so much sense when you put it that way.
He's also critical of our reliance on sleeping pills. They can induce unconsciousness, yes, but often it's more like sedation. It doesn't replicate the complex restorative stages of natural sleep. You miss out on the deep work the brain needs to do.
So it's a Band-Aid at best, and maybe not even a good one.
Often, yes. Now, it's fair to say Walker's tone is urgent, some might even say alarmist. Critics sometimes point out he might simplify some incredibly complex neuroscience, or perhaps overstate certain direct causal links where the science is still evolving.
That's an important nuance.
It is, but his core mission seems to be shaking us awake collectively, to highlight these huge structural problems, the cultural norms, the institutional schedules that make healthy sleep so difficult, rather than just blaming individuals for lack of discipline. He poses the question, how do we weigh scientific caution against the overwhelming evidence pointing to a public health crisis needing urgent attention?
It's a compelling argument for prioritizing sleep on a much bigger scale. So bringing this all together, after diving into the biology, the practical tips, the societal pressures, what's the ultimate message we should take away from why we sleep?
I think the biggest takeaway is just this fundamental reframing. Sleep isn't wasted time. It's not optional. It's an active, powerful biological imperative. It's the foundation upon which your physical health, mental sharpness, and emotional well-being are built.
A non-negotiable pillar, like diet and exercise.
Exactly. Not an afterthought, but truly foundational. The book really serves as a wake-up call, a manifesto urging us to reclaim sleep, both individually and collectively, for a healthier society.
It really does feel like more than just a science book. It's almost a call to action, a blueprint for rethinking how we live. So for everyone listening, maybe the final thought is this. In a world that constantly pushes you to do more, be more, stay awake longer, how can you start to redefine your own success to include the radical act of getting enough rest? What's one small thing you could change, maybe starting tonight, to move towards truly thriving, not just surviving?